How do we know that an idea is worth investing time into? How can we possibly look at that infant concept, that baby idea, and know definitively you are going to be worth feeding, you are going to be worth nurturing and putting a bib on and cleaning up after, because someday you will turn into something substantial, something that was worth it? I hope you don't think about kids this way, but we certainly think about ideas this way. Is this idea valuable? Is it worth something? Is it worth putting time into? But what do we mean? What do we mean is an idea worth it? Is this idea a good enough idea to warrant our engagement in our time? Will people be interested in it? Can it be sold? What is it, anyway? And while I'm not going to dive into what an idea is here, because I don't want to spend 15 hours trying to pull the very fundamental aspects of my brain into fibers, what makes an idea worth it? Are all ideas valuable? Well, yes and no. Yes, in that every idea seems to be worth chewing on. It is worth taking a moment of our time and throwing it into our molars and milling it about, thinking about, what is this? Where did it come from? Why did I think it up? Does it have any use to me in some capacity? Is it interesting? Who knows where a train of thought will go until you ride it all the way around? And yet, no. In some sense, not every idea needs to be given a chance. Some are truly duds. But is it really true that they don't need to be given a chance? Because if you don't give them a chance, how can you know if there was anything there in the first place? You can look at a pack of seeds, of course, a whole bunch of pieces of corn or sunflower seeds, and go, these don't look like they're very productive. They look inert to me. They're dry. I don't think anything's going to come of this. And you might be right. But if you plant them, or even if you just soak a paper towel and put them inside of a Ziploc bag and let them sit for a little while, the ones that are truly alive, the ones that will produce something, produce fruit, they will let you know. And ideas seem to be the same way. That you can't know at face value if an idea has value, if it's worth putting time into. You have to sacrifice. You have to put in a little bit of time just to know. But they usually tell you pretty quickly. So, unfortunately, like so many things we talk about artistically, the answer is yes and no. So in an odd way, all ideas are worth putting some time into, even if some yield nothing, just like seeds, where you have to put the time into seeds in general to get any crop, to get any fruit at the end of the harvest season, but some of those seeds will yield nothing. I've had times before where I've planted many seeds in my garden and only a couple have come up. Sometimes I planted kale or cabbage or something like that, and I plant 100 seeds and I get 4 plants. That yield is pretty terrible, but sometimes when those plants are nurtured, that kale becomes 4 feet tall, which is more kale than I could ever have in my kale-avoiding life. But when I plant a tomato, and only a single out of 10 take, and yet that plant gives me 24 tomatoes, each weighing more than a pound, then, well, that plant was worth putting my time into, now wasn't it? And sometimes that's how it works for ideas. Sometimes you have a dozen ideas and none of them pan out, and then one breaks the surface and it grows and it transforms into something that you did not anticipate, and that one idea makes up for the other 11 that went nowhere. The cool thing about ideas, though, unlike seeds, is ideas can sit in the ground for years and still burst forth and yield results. And yes, I know there are some seeds that do that, but most don't, and it ruins the metaphor. And metaphors are how I look at the world. This means, of course, that broadly speaking, all ideas are worth putting some time into. Some effort, if for no other reason, just to sort through what exists and what doesn't, where there's value, where there's not. And you can't know that by just looking at them. I have many story ideas that I've been pulling apart and chewing on for years, and I've got 3 big ones that I nurture, and it's still yet to see whether they're going to turn into anything substantial, but I nurture them nonetheless. And here's another reason why it can sometimes be worth putting time into an idea. I enjoy putting that time in. So listen to yourself as well. Perhaps your unconscious, subconscious mind will tell you something about being drawn back to this idea. Something inside you says, no, I think we should put time here. You can't always trust your feelings. They are ephemeral, but sometimes your feelings are the most true part of you, human. I suppose if we could fully tame our emotions and our feelings, then we wouldn't necessarily have to trust them, or we would know when we could always trust them, which would be lovely. I feel like my emotions often lead me astray, but, having a child and being married for 15 years has taught me that, no, emotions are simply a part of what it is to be human. A valuable part. A part that is not dismissible if you really want to live a true and fulfilling life. But I needed stimuli to get to that point, to understand that that is how I ought to interpret the universe. So give your ideas time. Even if they seem obscure or they seem like they're not really going to take you anywhere, and that might be the case. They might not do much for you, but you can't know. You can't know unless you try, unless you invest a little bit of time into them. Welcome to the session. I know that we're like 6 minutes in and I've been rambling about ideas, but this came from an awesome question that I got in one of my posts recently. And so I wanted to chew on it a little bit. I wanted to break it down and understand it. It didn't feel like I had enough yet to dedicate an entire podcast, but I wanted to pull apart some of the concepts and ideas in a sketchbook session. I really love the feedback from all of you. It gives me the ability to have new ideas that are not just my own and pull them out, because my ideas I spend a lot of time with. I can't ever seem to shut my mind off unless I'm sleeping and sometimes playing video games. And a really good book will do it, but a not real good book, my mind will wander and I won't actually be reading what I'm reading. So I really appreciate that and appreciate getting the feedback, and it gives me new things to pull apart and to think about. This, of course, is a bonus sketchbook session. This should be coming out on December 25th. So if you are celebrating Christmas today, then Merry Christmas to you. And if you are not, I hope it is a wonderful day. I hope you have a good end of your year. And I hope that you have snow, because I love snow and I always want to wake up on the 25th of December and have a snowy Christmas. We don't always. I live in Colorado, and sometimes we get 3 feet of snow and sometimes we get 50 degrees. So it's very difficult to predict. But I grew up, for a time at least, in California, and we pretty much never had snow this time of year. And so getting to have the opportunity to get outside and get myself cold, my daughter loves sledding, those kind of things just feel so ultimately Christmassy to me. And I enjoy that. I love that part of the season. So again, I don't know if you celebrate, but regardless of if you do or not, I hope this is a wonderful end to 2023. And I hope that 2023 has been a good year for you. And the beautiful part about that is that if it hasn't, if 2023 has not been a good year, then 2024 is right around the corner. It'll be here in just a week or so now. And I hope it's going to be a wonderful one for all of us. I started this channel on January 4th of 2023. And so it's odd now that I'm rolling toward 2024. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, for which I am immensely grateful and thankful. This also might tell you when I'm recording this. I am recording this on the 6th of December right now. Usually try to be a little bit ahead of time, and I'm also trying to give myself some time off for the holidays. You're getting a lot of different little rambles today, you might have noticed if you happen to be here and are still listening. But this is kind of how the sketchbook sessions were born. They were a thing for me to just ramble about what I was talking about and hopefully touch on the soul of some poor little artist who's listening to me, who is just like me and needs something to spark something, because all of the things are too many things and there's so many somethings, and art is so strange. In fact, my first sketchbook sessions I recorded as I was doing the drawings. And that's good. I think it's a really lovely thing to do in a way. I wanted to do live streams, but maybe was too scared to do them, or was just resistant, or in actuality, I was afraid of the technology in some capacities. I didn't have a good microphone at that point in time, and I could only ever get the audio to come in through one ear. So that seemed like something that was out of my reach. And so instead I did 45-minute long or hour-long sketchbook sessions where I talked about things while I drew. There is a lovely authenticity to that. But the other side is that some of the drawings that I work on, that you probably work on as well, they take brain power, and if I am sitting there working on a drawing for an hour, I am probably only giving 20 to 25 minutes of good conversation. And that's good with air quotes, because a lot of the rambles were not particularly ordered. I would sometimes stumble over my words. There would be lots of ums as I thought through what I was trying to communicate, while I was also trying to think about what the skull of this creature would look like underneath the skin. Lots of things to process. And I may bring those back at some point. In fact, now I have better technology. I'm a little bit more confident. I could probably start doing live streams. If that's something that you would be interested, let me know in the comments below. I will probably look into that as the new year begins. But it's exciting. It's exciting to reach the end of a year, to have put this time into a thing, and to have so many people who seem to be deriving some joy from these videos, these sketchbook sessions and these podcasts. It really is a satisfying thing, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you being here and listening, and I hope today is a wonderful, wonderful day for you. Regardless of when you're listening, you have context now for when I'm recording this and when this is going to come out, but it's possible you could be listening to this far down the future. So if you are in the middle of 2024 right now, I hope it's been a wonderful year so far. And I hope you're drawing things. I hope you're giving in to your artistic need to make things and to bring ideas to life. Because the world is a terribly boring place when we don't create, when we don't bring things to life. So please, follow your ideas, water them like little seeds, and nourish them, and give them some time and see what happens. And then, if you feel so inclined, share them with the world, because the world needs more interesting things. As always, thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you, especially your comments and your feedback. It just lets me know that I'm heading things in the right direction to help, assist, or simply entertain you who are listening. Have a good one, y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. See you soon.